watching it.
House we bought seconds before the neighborhood came on before the
Yeah, me too. We bought in 1982. There were still some fire escapes on the brownstones because they had been SROs.
All right, everybody good?
Great.
Here, come with someone on this side. I need some, there you go.
I want Polly.
There you go.
On my
You get
side.
to keep Polly. Okay, good morning, everyone. It's a great honor to be here with Senator Schumer, with our Transportation Commissioner, Polly Trottenberg, our Chair of the City Council Transportation Committee, Adonis Rodriguez, Kathy Weil, President and CEO of the Partnership for New York City, who has done so much to help organize the business community, support our efforts today. We thank her for that. And two great advocates for our mass transit riders, the legendary Gene Rushinoff, staff attorney at the NYPIRG Strap Hangers campaign, and John Raskin, executive director of the Riders Alliance. We want to thank them all for joining with us today. This is happening all over the country today. At locations all over the country, elected officials, business leaders, labor leaders, civic leaders gathering together, demanding that the Congress act on the transportation bill. 60 plus of my fellow mayors all over the country are holding similar events today. They are Democrats, they are Republicans, they are independents. The mayors are gathering the entire community to work for what we need in Washington for our metropolitan areas. Business, labor, civic organizations, faith, all working together in a bipartisan coalition. And I've talked to so many of my fellow mayors, and they are focused on using their reach all over their metropolitan areas to bring people together in common cause to get what we need from Washington. The bottom line is we need investment if we expect to have a society that works, if we expect to be able to get around, if we expect to be able to get to work. We need investment from Washington. And what we've seen in recent years is investment that has not even been close to meeting the needs of this city and so many other cities around the country. That's true for mass transit, that's true for investment in highways and bridges as well. This is our lifeline. It's a lifeline for all of us. It's what makes our economy work. It's particularly mass transit is a lifeline for those of limited means. It's their only way to get around. So the bottom line is this country has been going backwards in terms of investment in transportation infrastructure because the numbers remain flat while the need has gotten greater and greater and our infrastructure gets older and older. Our counterparts, our competitors, are investing more and more. Look at China, look at India, look at Germany. They're all investing. This country's not. May 31st, as Senator Schumer will explain, is when this all comes to a head, when the Federal Highway Trust Fund runs out. And we need to create energy all over this country for a change. We had a great meeting of mayors in Boston, our Cities of Opportunity Task Force gathering hosted by Mayor Walsh in Boston, and mayors all over the country agreed on this plan of action. That we would have gatherings today around the country, and then in the week of May 11th, go to Washington, again with business leaders, labor leaders, community leaders, to go to the Congress en masse and make the message that this has to change, that investment is needed. This is going to be a consistent, growing effort and a bipartisan effort that we think will be heard in Washington. And if we get the support we need, we can keep investing in our infrastructure, we can bring it up to grade, we can keep making sure there's an expansion of mass transit, areas like bus rapid transit that we know offer such great opportunity for this city. We need momentum if we're going to change the dynamic of Washington. I'll turn to Senator Schumer after I give you a little bit of Spanish, but no one knows better than our senior senator the gridlock that can occur in Washington. And on this issue, this should be one where there's no debate. Investing in our country's future, this should be one where there's actually bipartisanship, and we aim at the local level to create the momentum that will help give Senator Schumer and others who want action in Washington the wind in their sails to achieve it. In Spanish, Nueva York se une hoy a ciudades de todo el país para pedir al Congreso que aumente los fondos para transporte. Los neoyorquinos estamos siempre en la calle y dependemos del transporte público para llegar a donde tenemos que ir. Pedimos al Congreso que ayude a la nación a construir un sistema de transporte adecuado. With that, it's an honor to introduce our senior senator who is fighting for the investments we need for this city, this state, and this whole nation, Senator Chuck Schumer.
Well, thank you, Mayor. First, I'll say a little Spanish. La vía del tren subterráneo es peligroso. That's about it for me. That says the train tracks are dangerous. And it's on, when you ride the subway, they say that on the ads all the time. And that's about it. You've heard my Spanish presentation. I want to thank the mayor for being here. This is a really important issue. We're not just, we're not just talking, oh, this might happen. We're not just here to rally for transportation, which we believe in. This is serious stuff. First, what an amazing subway system we have. A gentleman, just a commuter, who's an immigrant from Egypt, talked to us about how much better this subway system was than the one in London he used to ride. It is. It's faster, it's quicker, it's cheaper. To get 3.5 million people off and on Manhattan every day is an amazing thing. And you go out, wherever you go, we need infrastructure. We need it to keep our subways and buses running. Go out to Long Island, the suburbs, or even ride the BQE. We need it for our highways as well. The good news has always been, because of the great Senator Moynihan, the Highway Trust Fund is good for New York. For every dollar we put in, we get more back. We are one of the few, as Polly can tell you, we are one of the few donee states. We get back more than we put in, and we have fought hard and successfully to make sure that the mass transit portion, where New York is so dependent, is very generous and good. So what are we here for? It is true, the system may run out May 31st. There's a whole group of people in Washington, you wouldn't believe this, who don't believe the federal government should fund the system any longer. They don't believe they believe everything should be private. Whether it's a highway, a bridge, a subway system, it's crazy. They forget that the federal government has been funding transportation since the days of even before the Republicans. It was Henry Clay, a Whig, that's the predecessor party to the Republicans, who suggested building what was called internal improvements. Highways, roads across the Appalachians to connect the East Coast, what was then the far West, Ohio, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And our transit fund is getting lower and lower for two actually good reasons. One, the price of gas is lower, so less money goes into it because it's a percentage. Second, because our cars are much more efficient, they're using less gasoline. We're going to get up to 55 miles a gallon by 2025. That's a great thing. So the Highway Trust Fund is underfunded in general and about to run out. We have to fund it. There are a whole variety of ways to fund it, but we have to fund it. Why? For all the people here in New York and around the country. It is one of the best ways to grow jobs and grow economic development. When you talk about middle-class incomes declining, one of the great problems America faces, one of the reasons is we don't invest in infrastructure the way we used to. The jobs created building the infrastructure, the jobs created by making the country more efficient so more good-paying jobs can be created. So we have to do this. We have no choice, but we have a hard-headed bloc who just feel that mass transit, all transit, shouldn't be funded by the federal government. We are rallying. We are standing up for transportation across the country so that we can get this funded before the May 31st deadline and transportation funding runs out.
Thank you very much, Senator. As I said, this is a coalition all over the country. It's bipartisan. It involves not just elected leaders, but involves business leaders, labor leaders, community leaders. We're thrilled to have Kathy Wild here with us today on behalf of the New York City Partnership, representing a huge piece of our business community. And Kathy, I'd like you to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The business community of New York and across the country is delighted to join with the mayor and with Senator Schumer on fighting for federal support for mass transit. 75% of this country's economic output comes from our metropolitan areas. all of which depend on mass transit. These economies cannot function, cannot grow. This country cannot go forward unless we have a strong mass transit system, and it's really at risk right now. So we're here to 100% support what the mayor and the senator are trying to accomplish, and we'll be with them in Washington on May 14th to bring that case home there too.
Thank you very much, Kathy. So we're going to do questions on topic. I'll be seeing you later on for off topic, but we're going to do on topic now, and the senator has just a couple of minutes, so if you have any particular questions for him, let's get them in right now, or any other questions on this topic. Anybody? Yes, Grace. We're going to obviously be presenting our executive budget in about a month, and we're going to be saying more about what we can do in terms of the MTA at that point. The city has a fine tradition of investing in mass transit, and obviously we have a huge investment we make in infrastructure in terms of roads and bridges. We put a great deal of additional resources into our last executive budget for roads and bridges, and you'll see a continued commitment there. This bill, again, transcends mass transit as well as highways and bridges and roads. So I think the bottom line is the city's making a big commitment already. But in Washington, for 12 straight years, the number hasn't moved. Inflation has happened, the infrastructure's gotten older and older, but the number hasn't moved in Washington. So we're talking about a highway trust fund that may or may not be renewed for short term, for long term, may not be any more money, and that would have a hugely negative effect on this country if that number doesn't move. Again, I'm trying to say to you, we're going to have more to say on the mass transit piece, but on the roads, bridges, highways piece, the city investment has gone up quite a bit in recent years. Again, let me say two things. I'll answer the question, but if anyone has something for the senator before he has to go, I want to give him a chance on any questions that might be pertinent to him. So let me just come back to you in 1 second.
Well, if it's renewed and not increased, we crawl along at a tortoise's pace, and that's not what highways or mass transit should be like. Our needs have been growing, as the mayor said. Infrastructure is getting older. We need to renew things. We need to build new things. We are trying in New York. We've gotten money for both East Side Access and for the 2nd Avenue subway, but we need more. And the needs of the nation will not be met if this fund stays flat. It'll be worse, of course, if it runs out. Disaster. But even staying flat hurts us year after year after year after year. And with the gas revenues from gasoline tax going down because cars are more efficient, because the price of gasoline, thankfully, has gone down, we need new sources. We need new dollars.
For the senator, go ahead. Okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen him, so I won't comment.
Here. Anything else on topic for the senator? For the senator, yes.
On which?
Sam Schwartz.
I haven't. No, I have not.
Yeah. I saw the original proposal and met with Sam Schwartz several years ago. I have not seen the updated one. As I said, I think it's a very meaningful proposal and worthy of debate, but I have not taken a formal position. For the senator, anything
left for me? Because I got to run.
Yeah.
Rich, and by the way, I saw the INS guy putting in the CBS guy's microphone. We need that kind of cooperation in Washington.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Absolutely. Yes, the people who oppose this are missing the boat, the train, the car, and they're not with it. People are coming back to cities. Look at New York City. We've grown from 7 million people to 8.5 million people in 2 decades. You need more mass transit in those situations, and people like mass transit. We need to help our roads. We need to keep our suburbs and roads here in New York strong, but mass transit's a particular need and will be hurt particularly badly if we don't have the fund. I'm going to go. Is that okay, everybody?
You have gotten permission.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Senator.
Bye.
Okay, just one other follow-up, and then I owe you. The other point that Chair Rodriguez made is we, on top of the fact that we have a growing population, as the Senator said, 8.5 million now, the highest we've ever been, on the way to 9 million. We also have the highest number of tourists we've ever had, 56.4 million last year. Everyone depends on mass transit in that equation. They certainly depend on our roads and bridges as well. So these investments are about building our economy. And if the number doesn't increase, we're literally going backwards because of the age of our infrastructure. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the NCA budget materials for the capital plan already assumes $125 million a year, and you're saying you'll have more to say when the budget comes out. Should the NCA not be banking on the city's increasing its contribution?
Again, that's why we have a budget proposal. We always make this point to all of you. We give you the numbers when the budget comes out, not a minute before. So the MTA's made its assumption. That's part of how they do their budget. We will have our budget within a month. Yes. Look, I would argue the governor and the legislature have to focus on resolving the MTA issue, and we certainly want to work with them. But it can't be ignored. The federal piece of the equation matters a lot here. I think something we all agree on is we need more federal investment for the future of this country. Again, this transcends just New York's needs. And if we get appropriate investment, that will certainly help the MTA. But Albany clearly has to come up with some bigger solutions. A $15 billion gap is too much to ignore, and we'll certainly partner with them in any way we can. A while ago, not in the last few weeks, but at the beginning of the budget process I did, yes.
Following up on Gloria's question, 2 months ago you said you had reviewed the New York plan. Are you planning on
At some point, sure.
what's taking so long?
Just other things that we're working on. Anything else? Going once. Yes.
When was the last time you took mass transit to get someplace to a city hall, an event, and there weren't any cameras around?
And there weren't any cameras, just regularly taking it? Oh, a week or two ago. Yeah. All right, last call. No, we're just doing this. We'll get you later on. We're doing off topic later on. Last call on this topic, going once, going twice. Rich.
Some guy has been throwing metal down in the tracks.
No. No, we'll get you later on that then. Okay, thanks everyone.